Did Common cheat on Jennifer Hudson with a new side chick? If you ask the internet, the answer changes by the hour. But if you ask Tiffany Haddish, well, she seems to think so. And she hasn't exactly been keeping her thoughts to herself. In fact, she's been mocking Jennifer hard, slipping in shade so sharp you almost miss it if you're not paying attention. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Tiffany isn't just some random bystander. She's the ex, the woman who dated Common before Jennifer, went public with their romance, and then watched it fizzle out faster than fans expected. And now she's watching from the sidelines as whispers of cheating, new flings, and messy timelines swirl around her old flame's latest relationship. Common once called Jennifer his happy place. He went on record saying she was the one.
Now we gotta get down to business, Mr. Common. I'm a host, and so I have to ask you this question, because everybody always wanna know this. Are you dating anyone?
So, yes, and I'm in a relationship that is with one of the most beautiful people I ever met in life. And she's smart, she loves God, she has something real down to earth about her. She's talented, but I set my standard kind of high because she had to have an EGOT. She had to win an Oscar on her first movie. I set my standard high. She had to get her own talk show.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so.
Before we decide if this is real drama or just expertly stirred gossip, we've got to rewind. Back to the Tiffany and Common love story. The breakup that left more questions than answers, and the moment Jennifer Hudson stepped into the picture, right when Tiffany's shade game seemed to hit an all-time high. Because the deeper you dig into this timeline, the more it starts to look like Tiffany isn't just watching the show. She's enjoying every second of it. It was the middle of 2020. The world was shut down, red carpets were empty, and the celebrity dating scene was quieter than it had been in decades. And then, in the middle of all that stillness, Tiffany Haddish went live. She was on Instagram, hair freshly shaved, glowing, laughing, and in the background, Common, cool, calm, collected, sipping tea like the most low-key boyfriend in Hollywood. That was the moment fans realized. Tiffany Haddish and Common were a thing. They cooked together, joked together, and even took part in online charity events side by side. At a time when most celebrity relationships were crumbling under the weight of lockdown stress, they seemed to be thriving. Tiffany even called it the healthiest relationship I've ever had. But here's the thing about fairy tales. Sometimes they fade quietly. By late 2021, Common announced they had broken up. His explanation? Busy schedules, like two friends, slowly drifting apart, no drama, no hard feelings. Except Tiffany's side of the story hinted at something a little less mutual. She said it felt like a playdate ending before you were ready to leave. And just like that, it was over. But little did anyone know, the next time Tiffany's name would be linked to Common's, it wouldn't be about them. It would be about the woman standing next to him. By 2022, whispers started floating that Jennifer Hudson and Common were spending time together. It wasn't flashy. No stage paparazzi shots, just quiet outings, casual smiles, and the kind of energy that gets people asking, are they or aren't they? For over a year, the two dodged questions. Then in January 2024, Common finally said the words, yes, we're together, and not just together, happy. He called Jennifer thoughtful, grounded, and one of the most beautiful people he'd ever met. The public reaction? Mostly cheers. But online, a new question started bubbling. How does Tiffany feel about all this? If you were expecting petty Instagram captions, pointed interviews, or sly shade, you were in for a surprise. Tiffany's response was simple. I hope they're having fun. Not only that, she said she was rooting for them to get married. In Hollywood, where exes often turn breakups into full-blown PR wars, Tiffany's reaction was almost suspiciously wholesome. Was this the product of genuine growth, or was it a subtle way of keeping herself in the conversation without looking messy? Cliffhanger. Either way, the internet was hooked. And then came the rumors, the kind with no receipts, but just enough spice to get people talking. Somewhere between fan speculation and full-blown gossip, whispers started. Timelines didn't match. Maybe there was overlap. Maybe Tiffany's graciousness was hiding a bite. But here's the truth. There's no credible evidence that Common cheated on anyone. The stories that were going viral had one big flaw. They were built on nothing but speculation. Still, the rumors stuck. And here's why. Because they made a better story than the truth. People love a love triangle. They love imagining the quiet burn of an ex watching from the sidelines. And in this case, Tiffany's unexpected kindness almost fed that narrative. The Tiffany Haddish of 2015 might have thrown a punchline that cut deep. The Tiffany of 2018 might have fired off a late-night tweet. But the Tiffany of 2024, she was too busy. She's been writing a book. She's been focusing on stand-up, new film projects, and even talking openly about choosing celibacy for a while. "I'm running a team," she said in an interview, "and I'm having fun with my life." Instead of playing the bitter ex, she turned herself into the star of her own post-breakup era. And in doing so, she changed the story. Not the one Common left behind, but the one who's winning without him. Jennifer Hudson isn't just a celebrity, she's a force of nature. She's one of the rare performers to reach EGOT status, winning an Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, a feat so rare only a handful of people in the world can claim it. Her voice is the kind that can stop you mid-conversation. Her acting has brought entire audiences to tears, and her presence on screen radiates both power and warmth. But behind that spotlight, Jennifer's life story is lined with moments that could have broken anyone else. She's faced personal tragedy, public heartbreak, and years of rebuilding her private world away from the cameras. The kind of experiences that make you crave stability, trust, and a partner who can be your safe place. That's why when whispers started in 2022 that she and Common were quietly spending time together, fans reacted with cautious curiosity. This wasn't just any celebrity fling, this was an EGOT winner, someone who'd been through the fire and come out stronger, possibly opening her heart again. At first, Jennifer played it cool. There were no flashy Instagram reveals, no staged paparazzi walks in matching outfits, just little glimpses, the two spotted, leaving a restaurant, an arm casually around her shoulder, a laugh shared between them when they thought no one was looking. It was enough to set social media buzzing, but not enough to confirm anything. For over a year, the mystery built. Was it friendship? Was it something more? And then, in January 2024, Common finally made it official in an interview, saying he was in a relationship with Jennifer Hudson and calling her one of the most beautiful, grounded, and thoughtful people he'd ever met. He even dropped hints about marriage, saying she was the one. It felt like a turning point. For Jennifer, who had spent years focused on her career and raising her son, this was a moment of letting the world in on a personal chapter. And for Common, it was a public declaration, a rare thing for a man whose romantic history is often guarded and short-lived. But here's where the tension kicks in. Because just as this love story seemed to be solidifying, rumors started bubbling online. Timelines were questioned, allegations of a wandering eye started making the rounds. And whether there was truth to it or not, Jennifer found herself at the center of a narrative she never signed up for, a potential scandal complete with a familiar supporting character, Tiffany Haddish. The very idea that Tiffany, Common's ex, might be enjoying these rumors added another layer of intrigue. If Jennifer had once been the woman Tiffany silently watched from the outside, now Tiffany was the one watching her, and maybe even tossing a little shade from the sidelines. Through it all, Jennifer has kept her signature composure. No defensive posts, no cryptic interviews, no public back and forth, just silence. And in Hollywood, silence can be louder than any clapback. But for fans watching closely, the question lingers. Is this silence strength? Or is it the calm before a storm? Is Tiffany just envious and jealous? It's the question that's been bubbling under every comment section, every gossip thread, and every side-eye reaction gif since Common and Jennifer Hudson went public. On paper, Tiffany Haddish has been the picture of maturity, wishing them well, saying she hopes they get married, and acting completely unbothered by the fact that her ex has moved on with an EGOT-winning superstar. But anyone who's been through a breakup knows public smiles don't always match private feelings. Because let's be real, Tiffany wasn't just some casual fling in Common's dating history. She's admitted she was deeply invested in the relationship. She spoke about marriage, she envisioned a future with him. She even floated the idea of an engagement gift in the form of real estate instead of a ring. This wasn't a fun-for-now romance in her eyes. It was the real deal. And yet, not long after things ended, there was Jennifer. Gorgeous, talented, adored by millions, and sharing that same arm Tiffany used to hold. For some, that's enough to sting. For others, it's enough to quietly light a fire of competition. So is Tiffany's public grace just that? Grace? Or is it the kind of calculated poise that keeps you looking good while making making sure you're still part of the narrative. After all, the occasional sly comment, the subtle mocking, and the "I'm happy for them" remarks, laced with a certain sparkle in her eye, they all leave room for interpretation. Maybe she's genuinely at peace. Maybe she's enjoying the show from the sidelines. Or maybe, just maybe, she's secretly hoping for the day when the headlines read, "Common and Jennifer split," and she's already rehearsed her knowing smile. One thing's for sure, whether it's envy, closure, or pure entertainment, Tiffany Haddish has managed to turn her seat on the sidelines into a front row view, and she's making sure we all notice. So is Tiffany Haddish really happy for Common and Jennifer Hudson? Only she knows for sure. But whether it's genuine or strategic, it's working. She's kept her dignity, kept her career momentum, and kept her audience guessing. And that's why this isn't just a celebrity love story. It's a case study in moving on, whether you're doing it with a smile or with a poker face that deserves an award of its own. Be sure to subscribe to What's News for more gossip and more drama.